Hi, listeners. Thanks for tuning in. Ash and I are going to have a quick chat about cosmetic renos today. How's your day going, Ash?
Not too bad. Getting ready for Christmas, so excited to have a couple of days break.
I know, aren't we all? It's going to be great. So, yeah, looking forward to having a big break over Christmas. Come back refreshed.
Excellent. So we're going to talk about the renos and the importance of doing renos, not only to increase the value of a property, but also to attract good tenants. So I had one recently where I had a buyer's agent say to me, if we paint the property, how much extra rent could we get? And my thoughts when it comes to renovations versus maintenance is that painting is generally what I consider a maintenance as opposed to a renovation. But it's because like for like doesn't always add that value. And if you were to place vertical blinds, new vertical blinds, it's still got vertical blinds in. So for me, that type of thing doesn't add value, but what it can do is make a property better presented so that it does attract a better tenant, and it can also lease quicker, which does reduce your vacancy time. So ultimately it does financially assist you, but in terms of a dollar value, I don't necessarily think, that happens. But I like for me personally, I like to do my blinds and my painting at the same time, because when your curtain rods or your blinds, removing them so they're patched and painted fresh for new paint is ideal, and then nice new blinds put in, because if you keep your old stuff, you don't really notice that nice fresh walls.
Yes, yeah. One of my favorite, this is like my cosmetic reno combo that we do. Literally, we do a couple of these every single month. That is paint, blinds. I love electrical fittings, just replacing a couple of lights and ceiling fans, and carpets. Like you replace the carpets, smells fresh. That kind of combo. And you can do that generally, depending on the area, anything from like 10 to 12, 10 to 14 grand, you can get away with that. And also generally what I would see with that little cosmetic reno is it should increase the cost by double. So generally doing something, say it's 14 grand, it should add equity of at least like 25, 30, if not more, depending. This is like a big one as well. Is it currently a detraction? Like when you walk into the property, are you looking at it and the paint's all yellow and it's, dated? If it's a detraction, it's something that, you don't want any objections or detractions when leasing a property.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was talking about brain calories. And I hadn't heard it like this before. And what it talks about is that if a tenant walks through your home and has to use too many calories in their brain to go, oh, I don't know about that color, I don't know about that carpet, how would my furniture fit in? And they have to question and think too much. They actually
Yeah.
lose interest. So you want a tenant to go into a property, not burn any brain calories, and just go, oh, like there's nothing wrong. It's easy, it's good, it's simple. And for me, that's like a big focus, and doing those little freshen ups is what will help.
Yeah, and even further to that, making sure that the photography is like reflective of the property, because often we'll use the photos from the sales campaign, which are almost different photos to how you would take a rental anyway. And they get there and like, oh, it doesn't look anything like the photos. So they're instantly off it, rather than having, a campaign that's, reflective of how the property actually is.
Yeah. Do you do professional photography or for all your properties, or do you do any in-house?
We take our, like, we've got some good cameras and phones that we use, and that's generally okay. But we advertise a lot of properties that have just been purchased, so we're able to use the sales campaign photos, and then that kind of covers us.
So we always do the professional photography or the previous agents' photos with permission, but we've recently started using Snap, 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 which is something that like anyone can use. So investors listening, you can always do this for your own property if you like as well. But actually, now that I say that, I think there'll be property managers that say to me, "Don't tell landlords that."
Yeah, I'm literally writing that down. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna look at
Oh,
this.
but you know what's good about it? And I've done some amazing photos with it. So if you were to take a photo, like if a property manager was to take it just on their iPhone, so this is for landlords if you're like, don't just expect your property managers to do it on their phone and upload it, because what happens is when it goes onto like a website and it enlarges, it goes quite blurry. But using program Snap, 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 I can take a photo, but I can also do item removal, and I can do virtual staging on it as well, which is really amazing. And then the photos, when they are then like on a bigger computer, they're still very sharp, and they're, you know, professional quality, or as much as close you can get to it. And it's not only that it's a little bit cheaper, like I wouldn't say it's actually a lot cheaper than a professional photographer, but it's actually just the ease of getting it done really quick for the client, getting it uploaded and sorted within 24 hours. So we do that not for all properties, but definitely for things like during the Christmas period where it might be hard to get a photographer, or maybe it needs to be done on a weekend and it's just too hard to coordinate. Just doing it yourself is possible. And like I said, with virtual staging and item removal, so if you have a property that's like got crap all over it, you can literally get this photo and just remove all the crap out of it, so that you can still start advertising prior and getting a head start. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's important to advertise prior to the tenants vacating if you can as well, because you've got this whole opportunity to line someone up with it. So yeah, one of my favorite advertising things, or like cosmetic renos, is just like the street appeal as well when we're doing cosmetic reno. So it could just be as simple as like putting some mulch down and pressure washing. I love the pressure washing job because yeah, when the concrete looks all fresh, you do a little bit of landscaping. It just contributes to how the tenant's going to feel when they get there. They're like, oh, this looks nice, rather than, you know, the gardens are overgrown or whatever. You're starting the campaign off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, well, it's that whole like first impressions, isn't it? So just that like front yard and stepping in that front room. Even, I mean, you should always do the whole full paint of a property, but sometimes like if your front bed, like sorry, if the front room is like really dark colored or a funny color, even if you just get that room freshened up and lightened, so at least when they walk in there, they can feel it. Like that would be
a cheap way to do painting as well, if you don't have the budget, because like sometimes a full internal paint can be like $4 to $6 grand, sometimes $8 grand, depending on the size of the property. Sometimes your trims and ceilings are actually okay, so you can just get away with just doing a wall paint, and often it's probably about 50% of the cost, maybe, you know, 40%, just to get the walls repainted, walls only, and that can make a big impact, especially if the colors are dated or you've got funky feature walls and stuff as well. So it's a good tip.
Yeah. And I think then ongoing as well, like there are certain things that you should do before a tenant moves into a property to freshen up, but there are definitely things you can do during a tenancy as well. So things could be like changing the taps over so that the taps up and the basins are all fresh, or maybe it's door handles or things like that. So I always, I like to suggest that a 20% allocation to renovations, not maintenance, but to renovations, is something that most people should do. Sorry, it's not 20%, it's 10%. So basically, if you have a property rented out for $500 per week, then roughly about $2,500 per year would be allocated mentally or in account to renovations. So over 4 years, that's about $2,000, and that might be then like, you know, the kitchen getting sorted or the bathroom getting sorted the following year, the following 4 years, and that's a rough idea of how much money you should be allocating towards that. So be mindful of the things that you can definitely do while there's a tenant in place to maintain that, to slowly renovate it while you've got income in, no vacancy time, etc. And then there's times that you actually have to go and do your bathroom and your kitchen. Have you done a lot, like with your kitchens? You have, and we've done a little bit of it about the resurfacing.
Yes, yeah, love a resurface. So often, you know, if the bench tops are laminate and the kitchens are melamine, you can actually paint the front of them. So what we'll do, and generally it's only about like $800 total. You can get, depending on the splashback, sometimes the splashback's just white and you just keep the splashback the same, and the cabinetry might be like a cream color and the bench top might be like a peach or pink, you can just get a painter, a quality painter, and the products are actually getting really good now that they use. And this will generally, like, it makes it present nicer, but it's a way that you can stretch it out. So it's like, okay, the kitchen's structurally fine, there's no water damage or anything, but it's a bit dated. Let's invest this $800, and this is going to give us another 5, 6, 7 years before we need to rip it out. And yeah, so often they'll do like a laminate paint on the bench tops and the cabinetry. They'll replace the handles and then do new silicone. And that will it just freshens it up, and it's not a detraction. Like if it's a bright pink kitchen, people might walk in and go, I don't want to cook in that. Where if it's a little bit fresher and it's at least modern color scheme, yeah, it contributes to, I think, getting slightly more rent, or if not, attracting a better quality tenant.
And I think that you'll find that that look is probably more complementing to the house style, because nothing's worse than putting in a brand new, modern, kick-ass kitchen into an old place that hasn't had the rest of it up to the same standard. It can sometimes look like an eyesore. So it's something to consider. That I've seen that we've done that painting to a kitchen for a few of our properties, and it's really, really good. And even then going to the bathroom, obviously there are times where a bathroom does need a full renovation. So in Perth, you're probably paying between about 12 and 16,000 for a full renovation. But I also think that you can do things like replacing the shower screen to a nice modern shower screen. You can definitely do your tapware. You can do a nice vanity. Like that in your mirror. And maybe just resurfacing the bath. If the bath is like that yucky sort of like browny color, you can just resurface that white. You've also got painting tiles, which I don't mind if it's done properly, but it has to be done properly. But it doesn't last as long as what the kitchen stuff does. But doing splashbacks in a bathroom around the bathtub and the vanity is actually lasts quite well. So that's a good section up. But I've seen, like, we've got some really old houses where they've got these like really cool old school floor tiles, which is funny. They're so old, but they actually look quite modern if you go and modernize other fittings and stuff, and they look quite cool. So then you can leave your floor tiles where possible.
Yeah, and if you can avoid doing the full bathroom rip out, especially if there's no like leaks or anything. The other thing we do over here, so in comparison, we used to do a bathroom for about 9K, 10K over here. Now it's actually about 18 to 20. Like you're hard pushed, like it's just crazy. So if you can avoid, will that ever come down? I have hopes it might. But if you can drag it out by doing like a reseal of the shower as well, that can reseal or rebuild. Like sometimes it's too far gone and they have to actually just rebuild the full shower, and that will set you back for tiling, waterproofing, and the shower screen. Like generally, like I had one done recently for $4,000 and that was awesome, but yeah, it burnt 6, 7 grand, and then you have a brand new tiles and stuff. And yeah, otherwise just doing a regrout and re-silicon can stretch out the life of it, because as soon as you start having, and also, like, let me note, in Logan, there was no waterproofing in 1980 to like 1990. So as soon as that grout goes, you're going to have a leak into the wall and it's going to start to cause structural problems. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, what tenants want is not necessarily renovated, brand new bathrooms and kitchens, but they just want a well-maintained, nice, clean, looked after house. And they are like 9 times out of 10 really happy with that. Just the refresh, it's clean, it's tidy. That is all they want. They don't want you to go spend 50,000 on a kitchen that they're then going to have to be precious with.
Yeah, exactly. They just want something that's functional and nice, and presents well and is practical. So yeah, there's a few ways. I'm a big fan of buying properties that need a renovation. If you can just look past the ugliness, you can just most likely get discounts on the way in, and then you can add that equity and it can help you to keep accumulating.
Yeah, and if you've got a trusted property manager, like another good option is to go to them and say, listen, can you have a look at my property? If I have a 10,000 budget, what's the best way to spend 10,000 in this property for the maximum returns? And you know, let your property manager guide you with what they think as well, with where they think the money would be best spent. And because they know exactly what tenants want and what's going to bother them. So that would be my little tip as well.
Yeah, definitely, Lena. And they also have the best trades. Like generally contacting your property manager, they have all the local contacts. And then that saves the whole project management side of it. If you're doing a big reno, just lean on them.
And let's myth bust that whole thought that property managers get kickbacks from tradies, which every now and then I hear going around. It's like, we do not get anything from the tradies. We don't get commission. We don't get little bonuses. Like it's like what you get is like priority work, a good price because they trust us and we work well together. But there's no kickback or anything like that involved. People that start those rumors are dumb.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yes, just be mindful of what's normal pricing as well. Like make sure, because sometimes there can be, if we're getting 3 quotes on stuff, there can be a huge disparity between the most expensive and the cheapest. So just yeah, making sure that it's trusted and that it sounds about right. You know, they have to be realistic with the pricing and yeah.
Yep. Excellent. Well, hopefully that shares with everyone a little bit more about renovations, maintenance, ways that you can get the right outcome, but without all the expenditure as well. So any questions on that, feel free to comment on this video and Jackie and I will assist you. Jackie, have a great Christmas.
You too. Thank you. See ya.